10:30 UK time. Today is what day today? 15th of July, 2023. And let's make a quick prayer so we can start. Master Jesus, here we are once again, gathering around this topic that can bring us so many insights about our life, about what we can do with our life. Allow us, my brother, to use this time best as we can to help not only ourselves, but also those that have been brought to assist, to help us in a way that we can profit from these few minutes together once again. Be with us today and always. So be it. So let me share the book.
Bom dia. Bom dia, Guilherme. Bom dia a todas.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Let me just prepare it here. So we have stopped last week at the item number 8. Can healing be effected through prayer alone? And the answer from the Spirit is yes. Sometimes God allows this. However, it is sometimes for sick persons' own good to continue to suffer, and they then think their prayers have not been heard. This topic is very interesting because we don't remember about Jesus, about God in a day-to-day thing, and we remember about Him, about them when we are having problems. I would even agree that we don't have to think about them every day, as far as we follow what they brought to us. If we follow what they brought to us, and they brought to us not only through Jesus, but through so many representatives on earth, what should be the way forward, then when we are in need, we have a better connection. They may hear us better. Or we can heal us better. Or even better, we can heal ourselves better. So I gave you possibilities, and all 3 possibilities is linked to who we are. If I'm not a very forthcoming person to help others, to change myself, it's a bit more difficult. There are some creeds that believe that if I ask for forgiveness, I will get something immediately and my problem will go away. But practice shows that it's not like that. And as it is not like that, then how is it? Well, we need to do our effort. We need to put ourselves forward to allow us to benefit from this possibility. And another good point that he is mentioning here is that sometimes we asked, and perhaps we have acquired over this and previous incarnations, possibilities to be granted what we asked, but we are in need of that suffering. The other day, I was having a study with another group, people, total different group. And I even mentioned that sometimes the disease is not just a mechanism to correct something you have done in the past. Sometimes the disease is also there to boost your evolution, to speed up your way forward. It all depends how the person will see that. It all depends how the person will take that on board, right? Number 9. Are certain prayer formulas more effective than others for healing? Only superstition could attribute virtue to certain words, and only ignorant and deceitful spirits could entertain such an idea by prescribing formulas. That's the technical answer. So the words, the formula has no meaning, right? However, for persons who are little enlightened and capable of understanding purely spiritual matters, the use of a formula might contribute to deepening their confidence. What he means with that, I used to call things like that like spiritual crutches, because people use to help them to walk better when they have a leg hurt or something, right? Is it bad? No. I quite often used to remind people, look at the result. Look at the result. If the result is positive, if you're using a crouch or not, I don't care. I really don't care. Do we need that? No, we don't. Hi, Sandra.
Yes, in the gospel, at the end of the gospel, have a collection of prayers, no? Yes, I'm not sure if you should call them as a formula, but I think they are, as you said, and then it says here, for some people it's a very good start if they can't, they are not confident with words, what to say. Yeah, they are beautiful prayers there.
Sandra, some people do use those prayers as a formula. And there's no problem. If you feel like that's the best way for you to connect, so be it, But they are not meant to be a formula. Like I heard not too long ago, well, there's a prayer, when you do that, you sleep better. Any prayer will help you to sleep better. But for this person, perhaps this is the prayer that he or she identify herself better. And that helps her to sleep better. Perhaps to me it would be another one. For example, for me, a lengthy prayer, I will sleep. Not because of the prayer, because it's taking like 10 minutes prayer and I will sleep in 5, for example, So depends for person to person. But on the gospel, those prayers are not meant to be a formula. All right. Hi, Liz.
Hi, guys. As you were talking about prayer and formulas, I think I just would like to say about the people from other faiths that still having formal prayers and some rituals as well. We can't take away the importance of it, as the Spirit said here, for people that is still a little bit of enlightenment on how it is to have this relationship with God. Sometimes you need that prompt. It will depend on the your state, your understanding, your evolutionary level. For example, I tried so hard to be a Catholic once, but I just couldn't. It was not satisfying me to have this relationship with God, which I wanted so much. And some people were happy. They really have that connection through all those things, through all the, and those words means a lot to them. So yes, you don't need that. But yes, I think my point is we can't, how can I say, criticize for people who follow it. It doesn't necessarily mean that they have less of a connection. So just like me with the kids in my school, sometimes me talking is not enough. I have to sign to them. I have to do something more physical, something that is more clear for them to be able to connect with that meaning. So no, you are not allowed to do that.
Oh, all right. Okay.
Sandra, help me here. You are not allowed to do that. You may feel like sometimes, but you're not allowed. But yes, just to say that.
I totally agree with you, and there is no problem at all if people use formulas to get that connection. The problem lies with formula or without formula when you just say words, when you're doing something mechanical. When you're doing something mechanical without having your heart on it, it means nothing. Even for us. I'm not talking about any other creed. I'm talking about even spiritists. Some spiritists, they say the same prayer for 20 years and they have no heart in that prayer. And it means nothing, really. Just to show off, and that's it. So any way you have to get connected to a higher being is valid. And no one should say yes is right or wrong. And even here, the spirits, people misinterpret what he said here. He said, we don't need that. And we don't. We definitely don't. However, if that's the way you connect, so be it. Hi, Christine. How are you doing?
Yeah, okay. Hello, everybody. I've missed you all, by the way. I just wanted to say that since I've discovered Spiritism, it's meant a lot more to me. I wasn't christened till I was 21, and that was my own decision, not my parents. And I wondered why being christened was so important, and why you had to go to a certain building to be actually heard by God. And I thought, well, in the things I've seen on TV or heard about, God was never he might have been in an open area building that had no roof, but he preached to those that wanted to listen. So in those days, people might have not been able to use many words to say what they wanted to say to Jesus. So when it says about a formula, yeah, I think it becomes too hard for people to understand what really faith is all about, because I know with Spiritism you've got scientific approach to what's happening, but to throw in the word formula, it doesn't make sense. It's about how you individually connect.
Let me bring something to that conversation. As you are in Australia, I will use the Aborigines as example, because we also have our local Aborigines in Brazil, and we also have people, they are very simple people in the country, inside the country. So we have all sort of people, right? I guess is, I never been to Australia, but I guess it's the same. But let me use as an example an Aborigines, for example, my country or your country, doesn't matter. You have from grandfather to father to son, grandson, you passed over generations one way to help someone. It becomes a formula, right? Because you haven't had any access to any other level of information to tell you otherwise, you truly believe that those 4 letters or 4 words are what is making you succeed in your effort. But I'm also sure that some people may recite those 4 words and succeed to heal someone, to alleviate someone's pain, and someone else may say 40 words or that very same 4 words 10 times, and nothing's going to happen. So the key is how we connect to those words. Those words is what we are using to connect with the higher level. Back into my country, we have a lot of people. There are no spiritists. Most of them, because of the pressure of church, they say they are Catholics, but they have spiritist actions, if you like. And when someone comes to your very humble house, where sometimes you don't have even anything to eat, but they are always open to receive anyone with the skin disease, with the problems with the eyes, things like that. And normally those areas, they don't have medical assistance. They treat, they receive, they treat this particular person with herbs, teas, prayers, and normally the prayers have a formula within. But how they succeed? They succeed using the connection they use between their heart, their faith, with those herbs, or with those teas, or with those sounds, or those gestures, and they succeed. Maria, I'll let you just finish what, otherwise we'll get lost here.
No problem.
Let me think about herbs. Any drugs we use today, or the great majority, they are coming from herbs. So when this person is using herbs, he's using the element that is also used to make drugs, medicaments. When the person is using gestures, for example, even without knowing, most of the time is a woman who does that in my country. They are manipulating what we call magnetism. Ooh, becoming more scientific now, but they don't know that. When they used to use sounds, they don't know that. But science is using now musicotherapy, the use of sounds to heal cells through scientifically, but they don't know that. And when they use formulas in the prayer, they don't even know what a formula is. But that's the way their heart is connecting with the spirits that are with them to help them and above. Hi, Mulia.
Hi, Guilherme. I just want to, hi, everyone. Just want to add to the discussion that basically these, to me, they are the effect what some people call signs. We need signs, and the meaning of these signs to us, they will basically activate something in us. Maybe an image, it may be a sound, it may be a smell, it may be anything. So when you believe in something attached to that, you activate some powers inside you. And it's the same thing that some people need some pictures of a saint to believe that their prayer, is going to be heard. Some people, they need a wooden cross. Some people need whatever, Some people may, become connected to, a higher spiritual side of him or herself just by the smell of incense, So that basically activates something in us. And these are the effects of formulas as well. For those who believe that, that can activate something inside us. It's like giving you a cloak and saying, Guilherme, if you wear this cloak, you'll be invincible. It's not a cloak. It's just a piece of cloth, But is the effect that has in you. And that's why, someone sees a candle, and that candle has got a spiritual meaning for that person. If you light that candle, immediately you enter into a state of prayer because it is the meaning attached to that sign, the candle. And we have our signs as well. It may be a beautiful, sky or, rising sun or whatever, we have our signs and immediately we enter into a higher state as such.
Mm-hmm. Munir, I'll tell you a tale here. Back in our Spirit Center in Brazil, we start to receive a lot of people from different religion, different creed, looking for assistance to help themselves or those they love. But they were not spiritists. I could feel that they were a bit uncomfortable because they were not in the environment they were used to. Imagine someone that always said bad things about something, and then eventually they need to go to that place to ask for assistance. It's very uncomfortable for the person. We start to do something. In this room where this activity was taking place, we start the Lord's Prayer and Mary's Prayer. Is it a formula? It depends on you. It's not a formula. If you go deeper on those words, on those two prayers, you can do a lecture for each prayer if you like, because there's so many information there that you can stay an hour, 2 hours talking about that. But something very interesting happened. Those faces that were uncomfortable, they start to bring more people to come. And one person came to us and said, I was so pleased when I heard the Lord's Prayer inside because I was afraid before that. And it became a practice. Tell me where is written that we cannot do that. It's not. But people's mind may decide to go in different avenues and create different theories and different rules by themselves. And we know what that can do for all of us. So the important thing is find a connection. Find a way to help. I cannot count in my hands the amount of spiritists that have a cross in the chest. Some of them, they came from different religions. Some of them, they always been a spiritist, but they have a cross. Is there anything wrong? Not at all. Not at all. Going back to Munir's cloak, if you believe that is what helping you, you may be magnetizing that cloak to the level that it will, because there's so much energy on that it will help you. It's not sufficient, but will help you. So there's a lot of things, and all I'm saying here, I can talk about it with a scientific basis if you want, but that's not the goal of that conversation here. So we need to be open to get connected. We need to be open to help, and we need to be attentive with the results. With something you're doing with the best intentions are not working in the end, you may have to revisit this practice. Hi, Liz.
I just wanted to say one thing that is, independent on what people think about religion, but we also understand that everyone will see and understand what they want to understand, and that is something that no one can manipulate, access, do, change in people's minds. But the amazing thing is that we know in Spiritism that we are surrounded by guides, by spirits that help us, independent on what we believe in. And it is amazing that there are formulas there. It is amazing that we've been through all this journey, through all these years. And in each little formula, there is something good to be learned. There is an educational tool to be accessed. And I just can't, I get like a little sense of awe and wonder, and how amazing God is always leading you slowly towards Him. And doesn't matter what, sometimes we do crazy things, but there is always something there that is leading us into Him. And when we want and when we are ready, we are able to see and connect the dots. And it's just amazing how it's a variety of things and formulas and things like that. And it is amazing. There's always something for us to go and access Him one day.
Indeed. Indeed. Hi, Monia.
Now, Liz mentioned something that, it came into my mind the other day. I came to realize something that, in my view, I wasn't seeing before. You said we are surrounded by spirits, spirit guides. And then I came to the conclusion, if I look around myself here in the physical world, I don't have, evolved spirits as such, spirits who are very much enlightened. I have very few of them, but the majority is just like me. And then I came to realize that spirits around me are more or less like me. I may have one or two, very good ones, or some who really want to do some evil. But we normally, I have this, maybe I bring that from, the Catholic Church. It's either an angel or the devil, or good angel or bad angel. But then I realized, oh, look around you. Most people around you are more or less like you. So what do you expect in the spirit world? If we are surrounded by spirits and they, interact with us, they, affect us more than we think. Who are they? Spirit, very enlightened spirits who should be doing something on their daily routine, more than just being at our side, or, and spirits just like us, who are trying to grow, who are, full of doubts, who, want to do some good, but still they make some mistakes. And what we're discussing about signs and the impact of certain formulas that they have, perhaps for some of them, when we step into the church, for instance, say I want, to go to a quiet place, and then I see a church, the door is open, I go inside just to do a quick prayer. Perhaps those spirits who are with us, interested in us and, learning with us and, giving something to us in return, and they will follow us, and, they will benefit also from that. So I think in our daily routine, we have spirits with the same doubts that we have, who are trying to grow together. This is the majority around us in the physical world. Why should it be different in the spirit world? It's a question, Why? I ask myself, and then I came to realize not just angels or evil spirits who are around us all the time. I believe that the majorities, of those spirits are spirits just like us, studying, joining us in the study, trying to inspiring us to do some good, not because they are fully enlightened, but because, they are along the same path as us, making the same efforts, trying to, get good things to happen,
Mhm. That's very true, Manu. That's very true. Hi, Osoli.
So, first, I'm very glad to be here again with her. And I have one picture. I took a picture. It doesn't matter. I took that picture because it was very interesting. It was New York, maybe Fifth Avenue, and in that picture, it was many people, many, spirits. Why did they did it? How they did it? Maybe photographer was a medium. I don't know, but I will be if I can, Guilherme Munir, send this picture to our app. It's good. Can I?
Yes, of course.
Okay, I will do. Not now because I can't do now, but I will do this one. Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Let me just finish this chapter, this item, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about that. In such a case, it is not the formula that is effective, but rather the faith that has been augmented by the belief attached to the use of formula. That could be an instrument, that could be something, that could be a place, that could be many things, right? If you pay attention, there's not much information about healing mediums here. And it's a very delicate matter because people start to say, I'm a healing medium, I'm this, I'm that. We have to evaluate that this topic can be applied to everyone with different degrees. If you are a medium with more of that characteristics, yes, you may be able to do different things. But we all, to a certain extent, we are healing mediums. Like what? Because when we talk about healing mediums, we think about mediums that just lay their hands above the person. But there is also different degrees of the activity. Lay their hands above someone, we all can do. We all can do. But to do that, we need to understand the basics, at least. And when we understand the basics, we have to make a choice. Because to work with healing per se, I cannot drink at least a day before and the day you perform the activity, and it's recommended not to drink at all. That particular day, I should not eat red meat. Oh, you're bringing formulas. I'm not going in depth, but everything I'm saying has a relation with science, with our physical body. Likewise, if I smoke, if I use drugs, and some people don't like when I say that. And when I'm saying that in front of people face to face, quite often we have moms with kids. I ask them, would you take your kid to receive healing from someone that just left the bar and came over here, or someone that does not use alcohol? Would you take your kid to someone to give healing? Someone that you know that use drugs, or someone that does not use drugs? So then people start to think in a different way because it's very simple, right? Likewise, if my son broke the leg, should I take him to the hospital or should I take him to a vet? There's no brainer, isn't it? So when we start to think about those kind of things, become easier to understand why we have so many recommendations to do. That is very common, by the way, at least in my home country. Here, I don't know. People say, no, you can take a healing from any medium. It's exactly the same. Definitely not. Definitely not. If you have a group that the whole group follow the same guidelines, if I can say like that, yes. Then it's exactly the same among those that follow the same. Remember that we are not perfect, right? But we have a group that are accepted to perform that kind of activity, and they all follow the same standards. And then yes, if that's the case, I'm glad to agree with that statement. So you can go with anyone and it will be the same. But in case they don't, it's not the same. Because healing per se, there are three possibilities. Healing only from the incarnate being, you are only donating your own fluid. Mixed healing, that's what we see in 99% of cases. That is your own physical fluid plus the fluid from our benefactors. And I'll stop here. The benefactor may have the best fluids in the world, but if mine is not good enough, instead of help him, I'm giving him a hard time. And a primary example is when you are giving healing to someone, depending on what you have eaten, the person receiving the healing, they may even feel the taste in their mouth of what you have eaten before. Does not happen everywhere, but it does happen. So in that mixed healing, we have to do our bit. We have to be serious about it. Or it's better not do it. And there are several ways to learn how to do it, where to find information, and that's not the purpose of this study. And we have the third possibility. That's a healing direct from the spirits that possibly will not be able to interfere. But that's very difficult too, to find it, to have that kind of healing. So the mixed healing, half of the spiritual fluids, half of our fluids, is what we see 99% of times. And before we close that topic, if a person identifies himself as a potential healing medium, there's a lot of things to do, to study. This is not a joke. If you want to do something, you want to do it well, you need to put yourself forward. Likewise, you're doing a university. You want to be a good doctor? You want to be the best doctor? You have to study a lot. You have to apply yourself a lot into that direction. So there are things like magnetism, homeopathy, floral energy, scientific studies, vibrational medicine, psychology, and what all the methods use to achieve the same objective. And when you put all of that into the basket, now become the most interesting part. You have to go in Kardec to see where you find a safe information in Kardec to do it. And until today, I was able to find all the information I wanted or I needed in Kardec. Of course, give and take, different words, different time in age. If you're talking about going to the moon here. Kardec was not in the time where the man went to the moon. So give and take, you can find all the information or the basis of the information in Kardec. So we have 20 minutes. Okay. Shall we move on? Pneumatographical mediums. This designation applies to mediums who have an aptitude for obtaining direct writing, a gift that's not given to all writing mediums. This faculty has remained quite rare. I don't know what this
Remained.
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 Okay, it stays quite rare. Okay. It can probably be developed through practice, but as we have stated, its practical usefulness is limited to its being obvious proof of the intention of a concealed power in the manifestation. Only experience can tell if someone possesses it. It does. And by the way, this word is key. Experience. We only are able to tell if the medium is medium A, B, C, D through experiences. And quite often when someone is starting the mediumship, you start with something and may evolve to something else. So you have to go through experiences, through the practice, to be able to identify that. Thus, one may experiment with it just as one may inquire of a protective spirit through other forms of communication. Depending on the greater or lesser power of the medium, just to be sure that we all understand, when we talk about power, is sensibility. Medium does not possess power and is not gifted. Medium, they have sensibility. You may have a greater sensibility than others or lesser sensibility than others. Simple traces, symbols, letters, words, sentences, and even entire pages may be obtained. All that is usually required is to place a sheet of folded paper somewhere or in a place designated by the spirit for 10 or 15 minutes or a bit longer. Prayer and meditations are essential. Thus, we consider it impossible for it to work in a non-serious meeting or where persons are not animated with sentiments of affinity and benevolence. See explanation, blah, blah, blah. I will talk about non-serious meetings first. Why would you consider to go to a non-serious meeting? That's the first question I would do to anyone. I'm not saying that different type of meetings, one is more serious than other. I'm not saying that. But there are meetings and meetings. And once again, see the results. If the results are positive, then chances are that this meeting is serious. Hi, Osoli.
Yeah, I think in the beginning, when we don't medium don't have this affinity, honesty, benevolence, perhaps anything but it can happen that another spirits another spirits would like to be happy to do something there, to write something. And why material things it's not good to ask about material things. Maybe only I don't know, but I think so, because it's very, very dangerous. They come to answer, but they don't want to go, maybe go away. So why is must be affinity, benevolence, and no material things, or no serious things, or things. So they, because they know us, they can hear us, our thinker, and our why. I think is I never tried that, because I must have a better confidence in myself, I think.
Mhm. So a non-serious meeting, I think, is paramount to make our decision. We should go to serious meetings. In regards to affinity, is also very important. If we have members of that particular meeting that do not share the same opinions, the same energy, the same objectives, and it does exist. Sometimes the person is in the meeting because envisage something else. It's possible. But the results of the meeting will be better if that affinity of the members are there. And we are able to perceive when someone is not part of that meeting, because we feel. Not straight away, not everyone, but people may feel. So to have good things in a serious meeting, it is recommended that the people in that meeting to work on the affinity, because that is very important. We will address writing mediums, in particular, in the chapters that follow. What time is it? Still have time. So let's move on. Chapter 15, writing or psychographic mediums. 178. Before we go, something that I heard recently that caught me by surprise. If you are a medium, the mechanism behind that phenomena, to write, to hear, to see, to speak, is the same. The way the connection happens is the same. Why I'm saying that? One type of mediumship is not considered more dangerous than another. One type of mediumship is not considered better than another. One type of medium that only writes is not better than the one that only sees. The one that only sees is not better than one that writes and speaks, and so forth. We have to understand that mediumship is not something that we may possess to make ourselves greater, to look better in the picture. That's not what mediumship is for. Mediumship is to help others. And by helping others, we help ourselves. Right? So I'll stop here. Otherwise, I'll speak too much. Of all the forms of communication, manual writing is the simplest, the most convenient, and especially the most complete. Let's talk about that first. We have to remember that Kardec started with the tables, with the Ouija, with the planchette. And of course, that statement is very valid at the time. Because if you are able to write, it's way better than me in front of a table making notes A, B, C, D. And of course, it's way better. I don't understand why it's the most complete. Maybe we'll find together here, but I don't understand why he's considered the most complete. If you consider the most complete at that time, when we have taken letter by letter, noise by noise, or move of the key on the Ouija by movement, yes, it's the more complete because it's straightforward, right? So we see if we find the answer for that. Our effort should be made to develop it, for it enables relationship to be established with the spirits that are as lasting and regular as those we maintain amongst ourselves. We stress its use so highly because it is the method through which spirits best reveal their nature and their degree of their elevation or lowliness. Once again, let's go to the 1800s. Everything we're doing here I could record. But at that time, if it was not written, in 5 minutes' time, I possibly would forget a word or two, the intention or two, the way it was spoken about it. Today, we have other methods to ensure that it's so reliable as any other way. But at that time, no. At that time, if it was written, at least there was a way to have it registered to further analysis, right? Through the ease with which they can express themselves in this way, they provide us with knowledge of their innermost thoughts, enabling us to evaluate them and determine their true worth. Let's imagine something here. Kardec, he was brought to the Spiritism attention. So Spiritism got Kardec's attention through the tables. Imagine that transition between the table and the right mediums. Possibly. A lot of people would not agree with that because they always did with table. Anything else different is not, I cannot trust. It's not safe. It's not safe. It's not safe. So at that time was very iconic to have Kardec willing to accept a different way of receiving the information from the spiritual world. It has evolved. It has evolved again. And the way I'm only saying that because I would like you guys to have in your hearts that things may evolve again. It's evolving right now, but may evolve again in the future. Because Spiritism is not cast in stone. Things will progress with science and with our own moral achievements. Moreover, for the medium, this faculty is the most susceptible of being developed with practice. I would say that any mediumship can be developed with practice. Practice is the key for everything. To the point that I always like to evaluate things with the practice we have. Let's say I just bought a book on the internet talking about mediumship. That book may not be perfect. And how can I know it's not perfect or something is missing or is misleading us into a different direction? Practice. Practice will tell us that it does work, it does not work. If that happening only one spiritual center is one thing. It is happening on several spirit centers around the globe. This is what Kardec calls the universality of teachings of the spirits. So practice again. So we need to take that to heart. Mechanical media. What time is it? 5 minutes. You are very quiet. Any questions, any comment? Help me out, Munir, please.
I just want to say that, you know, developing writing mediumship, perhaps it's a bit easier because you may feel less inhibited than just opening your mouth and letting the message go through if you are a speaking medium, or even reporting what you are seeing. That's perhaps why the emphasis here is so much into writing mediums, as you know, or you know, this type of mediumship has been easier to develop. You know, you may feel less inhibited. You just write there in a piece of paper, and you know, there's, for those who are inhibited, you know, it has less consequences than speaking. Then everyone will listen as you speak, or you know, if you report what you were seeing. That's why I think also, and also considering what you said, that there was no other way of recording things but in a written way at Kardec's time. You know, you couldn't record sound, you couldn't record image, you couldn't do anything but, you know, leave a written message as you know,
was
way
the
to
safest,
record.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Christine.
Hi. I just wanted to say, I guess I've not actually seen anybody that has written anything from a mediumship point of view, but I've seen people actually do drawings. So my experience in Australia is that because we're very immature in our country with spiritism, if I can put it that way, is it's really only just starting to be thought about. And if it was writing, I'm not sure people would believe it as much as when someone actually physically tells you something, or a picture. I mean, I had a picture done probably about 10 years ago, and it was of my spiritual, I was told it's my spiritual guide. And the thing is that I imagined, I didn't say anything to the person doing the drawing, but I imagined the picture which this lady ended up providing to me. So in a way, it was like she didn't use the words, but she drew a picture of what I was thinking.
Mm-hmm. The mechanism of painting and writing is the same. The key is the spirit that's behind that and the type of work that is performed by a medium or a spirit center. I think, as ever, if you want to bring something new to the industry, what are you going to do? You figure out a nice and best way to get attention from that area where you're planning to sell your products, right? So it's possible that is the best way in some areas to get the initial attention of the people. And now I'm going to use yourself as example. Perhaps that was your first encounter with some sort of mediumship, and you end up here with us a little bit later. So that could be perhaps a way that is deemed by some high hierarchy to get people's attention, to get their wake-up call. I don't know, maybe, right? But speaking with different people, you have different opinions, different perceptions, and there are people that will not believe in anything unless they have a picture. There is someone that may not believe any communication at all because he has been so formatted with animism, with they will not believe any verbal, written, or any type of mediumship phenomena, so that we may be able to find lots of possibilities. And once again, the most important is always to study. And as we have spoken about, serious meetings is paramount to us to find serious people, serious information. And if we feel like something is not that serious, once again, just a minute, something has happened. Always we study. And as we have spoken about, serious meetings is paramount to us to find.
You must have your YouTube on.
I know. I know, and it's not switching off. But
To remind you what you have said.
yeah, probably. Because I haven't touched anything on YouTube. And said again. So we have, once again, just to be strong in our minds, we have to find serious people, a meeting to deal with mediumship. All right. So as Rafael is here, can we do our final prayer, Rafael?
Yes. Let's all then close our eyes and quiet our thoughts, connect to one another, and connecting to the spheres above, saying thank you for another opportunity to take some time to reflect, to study, to understand a bit more about this beautiful connection, beautiful mechanism that we have in every single one of us in different levels, as a reminder that we're all in this together. We're all a big spiritual family. We are all in the journey towards the same direction, which is our progress, our improvement. And today we are reminded of this, and we are reminded that we have the support and the help, if we want, of the good spirits that surround us. In the name of Jesus, in the name of God, I ask permission to close today's studies. So be it.
So be it. So thank you, everyone, to be here again. And I'm looking forward to be with you all next week. And I wish you a lovely weekend.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Don't bed now.